All right. I'll call to order the August 12th, 2024 regular town council meeting at 6:04. Roll call, please. Present?
Present. Present.
Present.
Present.
Present.
All right. Well, thank you. And please join us for prayer and then followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father God, we just welcome your presence here tonight. We just ask you to lead us in all that we do and just ask your power over our world, our community, our country. Ask your power over people and just lead people and just let them ask for your grace. Just thank you for all that we have. And Lord, we just lift up our town and ask you to lead us in all that we do here. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Do ask for a motion to either amend or accept the agenda as presented. Okay. All right. Let's note that we are adding the detailed letter and information from Frost Brown Todd. I'm sorry. It's on our new business of number 2 here. So just have some more information along with it given from our attorney. So I ask for a motion to add that with our agenda. Got a motion by Scott. Do I have a second?
No second.
Second by Matt. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign nay. Motion approved. Approval of minutes submitted by the clerk treasurer, also noted upon our website.
So moved.
Motion by Matt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign nay. Motion approved. Approval of allowance claims submitted by the clerk treasurer, also noted upon our website.
So moved.
Got a motion by Randy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Matt. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Same sign nay. Motion approved. Approval of payroll allowance docket submitted by the clerk treasurer, also noted upon our website.
So moved.
Got a motion by Scott. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Randy. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign nay. Motion approved. Take a moment here to sign those documents. Okay, thank you. Okay, then also, okay, I'm good then, right? Thank you. Okay, all right. Let's see, our Tri-County Township Fire and Rescue discussion. Chief is not here, unfortunately, this evening. So, okay, we just had a meeting with them, so we had maybe some representation we was hoping was going to discuss. So,
You need a motion to table that?
just want to table that, or you want to just?
We'll follow up with an advice.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay, I got a motion by Matt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Randy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Thank you. Follow back up. Let's see here. Comments from the public on agenda items. I have Jason Hartsall, 441 North New Albany Street. Mr. Hartsall. Okay. All right. Okay. On ordinances and resolutions, we have ordinance 2024-OR-011, amending ordinance 2024-OR-009 regarding surplus property. As you all noted in, as you can see in our packet here, we chose to keep our 2019 Peterbilt trash truck and utilized it in on our trade.
Back truck. It's a hydro. It should be a hydro excavator.
Okay.
2019.
You sure it's
That's that back truck, the old back truck.
okay? So it's a Peterbilt too?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Apologize. All right, so it's our 2019 Peterbilt vac truck. So Charlie, you have something you want to bring to our attention?
We're in the time that we put that on the original ordinance to now, it's come in very handy. So I think we're going to keep that one, and we have one that's a little bit older that didn't get used as much, and I'm going to come back with another ordinance to put that one up for the auction and keep the current one that we have.
Okay.
2019.
If I can interrupt, I think there needs to be some wording change because it got the special purpose of used yard waste truck. I mean, if it's a vac truck, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'm with
Those-
you. I'll be honest with you, I haven't looked at the ordinance.
Okay,
I'm happy to address that. If
Okay.
you're looking at the third paragraph, that was the ordinance in which we originally designated this Peterbilt truck as surplus. So we designated two as surplus.
okay,
And then we also authorized the special purchase. All we're doing, so we're acknowledging that this was adopted previously by this board.
okay,
That was the name and the title of the ordinance. And then all we're doing is making sure that this 2019 Peterbilt, you're going back and amending it only to strike the 2019 Peterbilt as surplus.
Okay.
So that's something that we can continue to.
that's the
keep
two
in mind.
different descriptions then, okay.
All right, that's why I
Yeah,
stopped.
I understand.
Yeah, yeah,
It
so,
it does read a little different, but
Okay.
that's kind of the correct way to do it.
As long as we understand, we're good to go.
yeah, because like I said, I had it as a waste truck, so, okay,
Yeah.
so as long as you're good with that, so state said, whereas after further consideration by the town manager, he recommends that the Peterbilt truck be kept as a backup since it's been needed a handful of times since designated a surplus. Now therefore it be ordained by this town council of Sellersburg, Indiana as follows: the following personal property shall be kept and not traded or disposed of as surplus consistent with Indiana law. 2019 Peterbilt, mileage 38,406, 4945 hours. This ordinance shall be in full force and effective upon its passage and prolongation, evident by the affirmative signatures of the undersigned as the majority of the duly elected and serving members of this council. So with that, I ask for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Got a motion by Matt. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Randy. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Same sign, nay. Motion approved. Motion to waive second reading of ordinance 2024-OR-011.
So moved.
Got a motion by Matt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Terry. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Same side, nay. Motion approved. Now approval of ordinance number 2024-OR-011, an ordinance amending ordinance 2024-OR-009 regarding surplus property.
So moved.
Motion by Matt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Randy. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Same sign, nay. Motion approved. Thank you. All right, our next one is our ordinance 2024-OR-012, ordinance regulating traffic control on East Utica and North New Albany Street. Charlie, you want to?
All right, so this does two things. In front of you, you have a couple of maps. The first map shows Utica Street between 31 and New Albany. There's an ordinance on the books, number 241 from, I think, 1986. It talks about no parking zone that's already established, and it's basically what I'll call the north end of Utica, on the north side curb of Utica Street is no parking. The other side, however, is, and again, all this is in kind of preparation for the 31 project. So we've had some discussion. Currently, this area from here to here is not listed as no parking. I've had conversation with the business owners here and the Business Owner Association. I won't say association, the small business owner group that we have down here on Utica Street. We installed a crosswalk there here about 2 weeks ago, pending some additional signage to go up. But basically looking at making that entire stretch of Utica Street no parking both sides of the street, from 31 to New Albany. And then for the section of North New Albany, north of Utica Street, basically from Penn Avenue, what I'll call the west hand curb, the west curb, or excuse me, the east curb of New Albany Street, from Penn Ave to 403, and then on the west curb, one house past Haas Avenue to 403, making that no parking. And then obviously once approved, assuming approval, we'll post signage accordingly for enforcement pending the 30-day notice period.
Residents along that area have parking behind their house, or
They have parking on their house, or there's parking directly across the street from their house on the street, because now there's parking spots marked on the street.
Have they all been notified? I mean, have we sent something out to?
Well, the striping is done at this point, so I think Councilman Amos has called me about an issue. There's some duplexes down on the end that carries overflow parking out into the street down there. Where across the street there's a parking spot.
by the bridge?
No, it's before you get to the Legion, almost directly across from the Haas Ave intersection. And I'll invite Chief to weigh in on any of this if you've got anything.
All this is to help traffic flow during the 31 rebuild, correct?
It just enables some enforcement if needed. We'll go out and stripe the remaining curb accordingly, yellow.
I think it also probably gives some slowdown concerns, as far as traffic flow. I think that was some of the interest. Before Mr. Hodgsaw, before I bring you up here, I will, I'm just going to read this, what we've got with this ordinance here.
Thank you, Charlie.
Whereas this council and town manager have identified and needed to establish no parking zone areas on certain sections of East Utica and North New Albany Street in Sellersburg, Indiana. Now therefore it be ordained by this town council of Sellersburg, Indiana, the following no parking zone: the section of East Utica Street between US 31, New Albany Street, see Exhibit A, North New Albany Street starting from County Road 403 headed southbound West Side Street of 2413 North New Albany Street, northbound East Side Street of intersection of Penn Avenue. Any vehicle found to be in violation of this ordinance shall be towed at the expense of the owner of said vehicle. Town manager shall cause to have the necessary signage installed, notifying the public of said modification. The signage shall be installed within public right of way and per NDOT and town standards where appropriate. This ordinance supersedes any of all other previous enacted ordinances that may be ineffective and shall further be in full force and effective upon its passage and prolongation of this evident by affirmative signature of the undersigned as a majority of the duly elected serving members of this council. So I'm going to ask for a motion for approval here on this, and then I'll ask for some discussion, and I'll allow Mr. Hartsall to come up here and state some of his thoughts or concerns. So I ask for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Got a motion by Randy. I got a second by Matt. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Same sign, nay. Motion approved. Okay. Mr. Hartsall?
Jason Hartzell, 441 North Walnut Street. It seems like a good idea on paper and in theory. Kind of question though is kind of got the cart out in front of the horse here because you already painted the street and the 413 address that you're speaking of doesn't have parking spaces in front of it. Every house that you do have parking spaces in front of, naturally they should be able to park there, the residents or any, member of the public. However, we don't have a spot to park across the street from our house on that end. And I find it kind of, comical that you're going to tow the vehicles that are potentially parked on the street that are not in these parking spaces that you already have lined and striped out, which I know you guys pay a lot of money for and it looks good. I'm not faulting you guys at that. But you don't enforce the trash can pickup already with the apartments that are down there, and they sit out there beside the road. That is a very narrow spot. There's a lot of children that get on the bus there in the mornings and the afternoons. And the traffic speed limit sign that you all had put up there, it doesn't curtail any speed, none whatsoever. So I don't see why you need to put no parking signs up when clearly you painted the roads for where parking is allowed. So do we not think that our members of the public are intelligent enough not to park on the side of a street of a shoulder that's painted or into a parking spot that we have? Because we have nowhere in our alley to park at as a right of way as well. And Spring Street, which isn't marked on your map there, isn't a thoroughfare that we can use as well. So it's kind of curious. I appreciate what you guys have done on the road, but I don't see why we need to pay money to put signs up for no parking and then threaten to tow these people's vehicles if they do that when you don't even enforce the trash can ordinance that you have already on the books. And so just kind of my thoughts on the matter. So we've already passed it anyway, so you're going to go ahead and do it. So it's kind of.
No, we just said we had one reading just so I could give you the opportunity. So, and I appreciate your trash can thing. Appreciate your noticing that. And so maybe we'll take a little bit more better look. I mean, we're not trying to sit there and be
And where you talk about the
critical on it.
duplexes at the Mosley's apartments there, it's wider there, and they've always, parked there anyways on both sides. Where you have your parking spaces at now that are lined out, that's on the corners there where you have where school buses can turn there. And that's perfect. They needed that. It wasn't set in stone or in paint, so to speak. But now that it is, I think that will, especially before the time that they're going to do the construction, gives the people the time to understand that.
You do understand we're just trying to be proactive because of all the traffic we vision going down New Albany Street when 31 is.
Right, and I do understand that, but I just find it kind of ridiculous to spend money on signage when you already paid thousands of dollars to paint on the road. It's the same thing. So where are you going to put these signs up on the right of way? Because I noticed that you put it in your verbiage, per NDOT in the right of way. So technically, our right of way where our road is, striped at, there's a spot for a vehicle to pull into. That's where we usually pull into and back into our driveway. Where are you going to put signs at?
Not put any signs there.
Well, I'm just asking where do you?
There'll be 3 signs between 10 Ave and the Legion where there's actually sidewalk and curb.
So up against that where there's already spots.
There's no spots on that side.
So you want to put a sign up where there's not a spot, but yet you want them to park across the street in front of the Legion where the sidewalk is, because that's where technically that's the only other spot, because you don't have it marked for no parking on that side of the street. You just want it on my side of the street up to 413. So if you're going to let them park,
that's where the road narrows.
right? But if you're going to let them park across the street in front of the Legion, that's going to congest it the same way all the way through. So if somebody wants to be an asshole and park their car right there, then
There's 2 parking spots north of Voss, and the rest of that side of the road is striped for parking. If you come down going north onto Albany, there's no parking past the school. Basically, the no parking signs will go from just past the school to the Legion, where there is sidewalk and curb, where currently there's a vehicle down there it was stickered for some reason the other day. I don't know what the deal was there. So yes.
Do you park on the street, Jason? I'm just asking.
no, I
There's
don't.
no signs in front of yours because there's no yellow curb to paint, because there's no curb down where you're at.
Right. No, I'd be afraid to, because
I'm just asking.
there's been so many mirrors and stuff I pick up now where the cars have come so close that they hit the trash cans and other stuff, and I pick it up all the time. And I a potential hazard again in the future when we do have all this congestion, because it's going to be.
Well, one of my concerns was making sure the residents had a place to park. I don't know, Jake, you can answer this. Is the town required to have parking places for residents on the street? I mean,
No.
we're not. So
Well, it's kind of like when you all had that with the neighborhood where everybody decided, hey, we're going to put up signs and pay and whatever this, that, and other. How did that go with parking enforcement there for when the school buses could turn around? Did those, residents still park in the no parking zone? Was that an
if they
issue after
did,
the fact?
they get ticketed.
We've
So-
not had an issue that I'm aware of since that ordinance went into effect.
I was just curious about it. 'Cause
I
I
get a
figured it's kind of the
gentleman
same
from
thing.
that works for the city of Jeff,
Mhm.
lives right back in there, and then he usually texts me and lets me know everything's going pretty smooth still, so.
And the school board would let us know if there was still an issue with the bus drivers.
Yeah, well, as far as the apartments parking goes, I think there's two different sets of owners there, and the ones that's closest to the creek there, they have a sign up that says "Don't block it 24 hours" or something like that. It's something for their own private property for their tenants specifically. They don't have a problem putting their trash cans back up on the road where it would be the tightest there, right after the guardrail. So
So
it's
fill
them-
me in, the apartments use our trash cans. They don't have dumpsters.
Correct. There's 4 different apartments. There's 4 different cans, and they usually 3 of them set out there. The one will sit back on the backside where the lift station is. And I did the good neighbor thing once, and I took their trash cans back to where they used to be at before the new owners took over. And nobody's trash got picked up that day because they didn't care enough to even notice it or put it out there. So they just leave it out there 24/7. And there was signage out there. There was even little red things you all put on the cans several times, but nothing else has came of that. So I'm assuming there's no recourse after the fact. And I know it seems kind of petty in a sense, but I think it goes hand in hand with what you guys are trying to do now. So I just got to bring that up as far as enforcement side of it.
Unfortunately, the alternative for the trash cans would be if the apartments had dumpsters. And then they would come pick their dumpsters up at 4 a.m. and wake everybody up with, I'm just.
I get up
stating
at
the fact.
3:30 every morning. to
Well,
work, so
you may,
that's
but
something,
you
um,
understand what I'm saying.
I do, and I appreciate that. But I think the thing is that they all pay individually for their sewer
Mhm.
and water, so therefore their sanitation's on there, and that's why it's like that. So I believe them getting a dumpster would not be in the benefit or how that would work anyways. But I think it's mostly to do with the owners of the apartments, not necessarily the tenants. They don't realize that there's a lot of new ones, younger, so it's just one of those things I just kind of want to bring up.
Lack of respect.
Something like that. But so and there's really no way to put it in the back alley anyways, because the way that the Spring Street is or isn't there and the lift station. So it's not practical for them to do that, for you all to pick it up either.
Novel Drive.
Yeah.
Novel
Novel.
Drive.
Yeah.
It was named after the library.
I thought there was Spring Street. Was the Spring Avenue? Was that not the alleyway that goes through there? I must have had my information wrong. Novel, Nove.
Novel. Novel Drive. Maybe just went and had to resubmit names for alleyways to NDOT to get those in our inventory so we can get them paid.
Well, thanks for the information. Yeah, but that's all I have on.
I'm glad you brought it to our attention.
Mhm.
Maybe we can reach out to the apartment complex, the owners. I
Scott.
talked to Scott about that. There you go.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, anyone else? Okay, all right. I ask for a motion to waive ordinance 2024-OR-012. Yeah. Motion by Matt, do I have a second?
I'll second Brad.
All right, second by Randy. All in favor, say aye. Aye, same sign nay. Motion approved. Motion to approve ordinance number 2024-OR-012, an ordinance regulating traffic control on East Utica Street and North New Albany Street.
So moved.
Got a motion by Randy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Terry. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Same sign nay. Motion approved. Thank you. Unfinished business, the discussion of transfer of real property with Silver Creek School Corporation. Our last meeting, we noted that we would have information up here for people to stop by the town for the last 2 weeks to look at some of the thoughts of designs and some of the other options and things that we looked at. So I know the school attorneys have had conversation with our town attorney on our direction. I know we sit there and thought that we should give the public a very good opportunity to make any types of comments or thoughts. So I don't know if anybody is here to ask on that. Yeah, they've been sitting, everything's been sitting back there for the last 2 weeks.
That's published on the website. You come in.
We,
I mean, you don't show up here, don't know about it.
Yeah.
Don't know about it.
No.
okay. So here we are with our final discussion on this. So it was discussed that the property, transfer of real property for the 7 acres of, approximately 7 acres of pool property for trade of the Sellersburg Grade School property of a little over, what was that, 4 acres or something like that. So Jake, I'll let you kind of go from there.
So just kind of recap where we're at. We adopted an ordinance to transfer and swap property. JTL's been out working in the field around the pool got identifying the property was part of the ordinance and the attached purchase agreement. They're finalizing that. JTL got those over to me today as part of our due diligence package. So, really the decision before the board tonight would be whether or not to move forward with the attached documents to transfer the properties as an equal trade. In theory, no other money would be changing hands. And I know something else that you all need to consider. You can move forward on your all's motion one way or the other. But we have not heard back from our insurance carrier. And as to whether or not we have, you should go check on. So can we be insured? Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. What?
So there was a question as to whether or not the town could even get
Right.
coverage if there was the lease.
Right.
contained. We just got confirmation that we can still be insured. So that was a big caveat. Obviously, if we could not, then from a legal standpoint, I wouldn't recommend it despite the legislative intent or discretion. So at this point, I turn it over to the board for any type of discussion. What you all want to do is to make that trade with the school board or not. And then if we do take it into our possession, there can be a secondary conversation as to what you want to do with that property in the future.
All right, Jake, I had spoke to a couple people about the property, and it's kind of been hanging out there, several different ideas. I realized that for 2 more years, I believe they have a lease. The Growing Minds has a lease there with the kids.
That's the information we're operating on.
Okay, so I haven't read, I don't know if you had mentioned possibly we did a rewrite on what were, previous for the other one or post the other one. So basically, the conversation I had with one of the council members, possibly had ran it by Charlie here and got some input from him about maybe doing the trade, but not doing it legally until those people had vacated that contract.
So if I understand what you're saying, Councilman Mobley, is that potentially moving forward with the trade, but not making it effective until the lease is fully terminated and the children are no longer in the facility?
That too, and that we're not going to be liability as far as financially liable for a lot of different things, which them occupying that building with the insurance, that's something we're going to, day one, whether it changes, whether it has student occupants or not, that's a factor that I have in mind. And secondly is the way the wordage and the verbiage was that we enter to the agreement that we will do it after those people have vacated the building.
So as it's currently written, that would not be the agreement.
Right.
That would be something that we would have to go back and try to negotiate with the board. With the school board,
School
if this
board.
council saw fit to make that part of their motion.
And what I'm seeing is, as far as the school board is, they're kind of the winner here financially, as long as we're paying for, if we take this building in, we're liable for this building at this point. There's no literature inside the contract that says we're not taking care of repairs, insurance, maintenance. Is that part of the new contract going forward, or is it not?
Well, no. So it would be just like a transaction. If you purchased a home, right? At the closing, you own that home and the responsibility that comes with it, unless something else is written in, and there's nothing else written in at this time.
Okay, and the reason I bring this up, we're on the hook for both. The swimming pool, we're still managing that, even though I guess the property it would be theirs, but we're still, as the contract reads, we're still managing the pool and paying for all of repairs or anything goes with insurance.
As it's currently written, it would be a lease back. So you would make the trade, and then through the lease, nominal amount of just a dollar figure to say that you can utilize that land and property, for said number of years, and that's how it's written. But it would be on the town to continue to maintain at least the pool facilities.
Okay.
At that point, if the trade does happen, then the land itself, cutting the grass, mowing, I believe that would fall on the school board.
Right.
But you're absolutely correct.
Repair. Okay,
Mhm.
So I guess why I'm reluctant to move forward right now, I'm not against the idea of obtaining the property. I think that we can do something with it. We have options. But until I read the new literature and the way it's written, I'm not happy with the way it's setting right now. So,
Understood.
my suggestion would possibly be able to table this, and even if it's 2 weeks from now, we can revisit it, because but from a standpoint of liability, we're on the hook for both. If we take that building as it's written right now, we're paying the insurance, we're paying the repairs, we're liable for those people inside that building, which is roughly 430 kids plus teachers and parents in and out. So that's part of this whole situation that is I'm reluctant to move forward until that building is vacated as far as an instructional facility. Because the school, from where I sit and where I'm looking at it right now, they got no skin in the game in this deal as far as moving forward with maintenance and facility cost.
Jake, to move forward with what Councilman Mobley is saying, we would just vote no tonight and then rewrite a new contract, or what we do
Well,
here?
So we adopted the ordinance. The ordinance had attachments that how we could effectively operate and make this agreement work. We do have this time frame, which is a due diligence time frame, which is very standard in the agreements. And getting into this is something that has reared its head that you kind of need to work through. And so really the takeaways would be, okay, we want to go back and renegotiate or feel more comfortable about our liability or better understand our liability or moving forward. And so it would be maybe a small group, maybe two of you, myself, Mr. Smith, maybe with the attorney from the school board, the principal, and say, hey, moving forward, this is more palatable for the council as a whole, whatever that looks like.
Right.
But right now, we don't have that ability. It's written as it's written. We would have to take a vote to go back and, see where it falls, because we only had 90 days, and which is the reason why at our last meeting, we needed to take some action at this meeting, and to also allow for the general public to come in and have comment and answer any questions.
And Jake, just for the council members and yourself and all that are involved and people that are watching, the reason that I'm reluctant is I say, okay, in 2 years after school starts this year and the deal's still the same and we can acquire the building through an equitable trade with our property versus theirs, and then we have options going forward. I guess my thoughts are that if we don't do it for 2 years, any cost that they inquire through repairs and roof, and because we've seen a figure with the roof that was, may have to be done pretty quick.
Mhm.
They've been kind of patching this place going forward. So
Sure.
why would we take on that liability? I mean, from a business sense, if we can still acquire the building, and maybe we could have a tentative agreement going forward that says, hey, we'll talk to you when you no longer have a student school there.
Sure.
And then, we'll realize what we have to do and what they have to do. That's just my thoughts. That's kind of where I've been from the start. So,
Sure.
If we're going to vote on it tonight, my vote would probably be a negative vote for it. So we can, as Brad's running the meeting, we can do either or we can kind of push it down the road. And, if you want to maybe rewrite something, but it's the way it's written right now. I don't think it's a good idea for the taxpayers of the town of Sellersburg.
All right. So, anybody else?
I had a quick question. I mean, it might be allowed to ask this. The land we're giving up, is it just the vacant land around the pool, or is it include the pool?
So it includes the pool itself, land around it, and then the town is retaining, I don't have the exact figure, but maybe a few acres right up front that they're retaining.
I knew there
But the rest,
been back there, I knew there was some vacant, some land behind.
right.
Jason, I thought maybe just that, but it's a pool as well.
The pool, if you look at the pool and then off kind of to the right, I have a document that JTL sent me over here a few hours ago where they were finalizing some details. But that's what it entails, because another big question for the board, what do we do with the pool in 5 or 10 years or 2 years, whatever, because there's some costs due to the age, and are we going to reinvest? And these are all questions that the Parks Board would have to understand. And I think Charlie Smith here would be able to help answer some of these questions with what he's doing.
I know potentially there's leaks at the pool that may require $500,000 being spent on it. And that would influence my vote on whether to
That's
do it.
probably pretty close
Yeah.
to the
So we won't
survey.
have a pool anymore to
But-
use?
Well,
Are they?
that's, right now, though, it's a lease back.
Keep going up, Charles.
Because the school board doesn't even know what, if anything, they want to do with this just yet. They know future plans, and so we have the ability through this negotiation, how many years.
Parking lot goes to,
We'll lease it back.
along with that creek line.
Right, which we may lease it for the next 5 years or next 10 years. But again, if it's up to the town to say, okay, Parks Board, Town Council, here's $500,000 just maintenance to keep it as it is. Or do we find a new location, invest whatever they're going to invest? I don't know. These are obviously legislative questions that the council members have been elected to decide. So this is just something that's come about from a timing. We have issues with the pool. For down the future, it's fine for now. It's great, but in a couple of years, you're going to have to invest some funds.
I know it identified everything, some parcels and all that, and I wasn't aware which, map parcel number, but I was thinking it was just that open field there. Now I
The
understand,
pool is
but-
included,
Yeah,
but we get to lease it back for a number of years that we kind of decide as part of the agreement. For in essence, $1 for the consideration of the contract. But then we, the town, has to maintain and run and
Sure.
everything else. So
which is what we're doing now anyhow.
Right.
All right, thank you.
you're welcome.
Well, we've seen other neighboring communities, invest in their pools and now, they're spending $9-10 million on their facilities, and like I said, we're roughly making or taking in about $110,000 a year, pretty much, and that's pretty much what we're spending. So it's a break even standpoint from our perspective. At this point in time, we've already invested $200,000 back in 17, 18, and then again a little bit in the filtering system back in 20. So that was, when do you finally say what yeah,
School was
To-
built in what,
to-
69,
1966.
66?
So that was a thought of when do you say
Enough is
most
enough.
people have pools in their backyards, and yes, we're not here to take away from anybody, but it is only open for roughly 75, 80 days. And does it, pay for itself or not? As we've seen, in other different little cases, from the animal shelter to whatever else it may be, not everybody is going to use it, but everyone has to pay for it. So at some point in time. So I think that was a cost effective thought on that. So, again, this was started out from the fact that the school was looking at different properties around here. This was adjacent to their school property. There's some value in this property for them to either relocate some other things on their campus, or consider some other things to build. And so it was a win-win situation for them. And their offer was to trade this facility here, the old Sellersburg grade school, which is now being leased by Growing Minds. And so we looked at, we had JTL come in, did a study, a safety study to see if the building was in good standing as far as the structure, and it was noted that it was, but there was also a notification that a new roof was going to cost about $700,000, an elevator shaft between $300,000 and $325,000, and then a whole total revamp if we was going to utilize it as a new town hall facility, community center type venue, or hand it over to redevelopment, allow redevelopment to look at some investors that wanted to come in and turn it into something else. So that was what we had here to consider, to think about. Councilman Mobley has given us his thoughts and his desires of what he would like to see done. So again, I'm sitting here waiting for, do you have something, Jason, you'd like to add? Sure.
So I've heard the phrase today, rear its head twice. It's ironic that you said that, Jay. So as Councilman Mobley here is commenting on this subject here, the look of disgust on your guys' face as why he potentially might be holding this up is shameful for several reasons. Number one, I'm looking at your paperwork back there, and you're telling me that we got to hurry up, rush. We got to have this done, And I remember when you all first brought this up, and I said, okay, and I missed a couple meetings. That's my fault. You all have that dated on April. So in April, you all knew what you all wanted to do with these possible 3 plans, not to mention how much money you spent on JTL. But I don't want to take away from that just yet, because if we give up the pool and whatnot, why do we spend all this money in the pickleball? You're complaining about all this money we spent in, updating the pool and stuff recently. So now why do we got these pickleball courts and all these other things?
Because we're keeping that part of the
I
problem.
understand the problem, but what I'm getting at, you all have, why would we want to sell or trade our property and then come back to be a tenant of it? We're going to lease it back from them. So anytime this stuff is being rushed through, something's not right. Something just don't smell right. I don't care who you are, what you say about it. there's 10,000 residences. I'm reminded we got 3 other people in here that come here pretty regularly. Nobody posted these on there. Now just looking at them, quick overglance. Why in the hell would we put bedrooms, master kitchen, and whatnot on the third floor?
That was just options. Those are just different options that was presented to us by.
So what is it that you're going to actually put in there? Because clearly you're the one that's running the show then, because you already know what you want done. You just threw that in as fluff then, because the second drawing is from May.
We had several meetings, several conversations. Originally, we had talked about making a town hall. But we've rethought that. If redevelopment takes it over, we would give it to it, we would sell it to a developer for $1 or whatever's done, and have possible business offices of some kind. We're trying to eliminate a max exodus of downtown. We want to build up downtown.
Well, you just tore down the old police station. I'm not directing this at you, but what I'm trying to get at is for this.
The station needed to be torn down.
Okay.
Full of rats and
Right. I understand that. But what I'm saying is, so why are we going to get rid of, let me rephrase it like this. So you say the pool's property make $100,000 a year or whatever, something like that. The school wants its property so bad.
It brings in that, but that's how much we pay out. We're lucky to make $3,000.
Why don't we let them sell their property at the school and do what they want to do with that and take their losses, incur those now and through the years? Why do y'all want to take on this big project? You all are going to be here to see it all through. And just let me finish.
Why do
you want to take on this project? I have been gone to the pool several times when I was younger. Not since Miss Cook will be the one to tell you, maybe Miss Rickmer. I've not been there, but I've been on the property. I've seen it. I understand the situation, but why in the world do you all want to take on this, $300,000 for an elevator shaft? Why don't you all let them incur those problems, take on all those issues? We got a new board and co-op thing going on with JTL. We just built a new sewer plant. Why do you all want to keep taking on all this extra stuff right now when you're trying to skirt it underneath the rug, in my opinion? Because if you're not, why hasn't it been posted anywhere else? Why, you put it back there on the thing for a community room. You only got 3 people that's coming in here. Why do you want to build a big community room in a town hall when nobody's coming? Nobody else knows about it. And I understand for the future, but I'm getting frustrated coming into these meetings when I am able to come, that this is what it looks good and sounds good, but this is actually what's really going on. You guys had your minds made up before about it, because just by the look of disgust that you gave Randy.
Well, that was our vision. Okay. We had a vision.
Whose vision?
Huh?
Whose vision?
Well,
he didn't know nothing about it.
Brad Amos's vision, Terry Langford's vision. It was the schools.
Exactly.
The school came out and said, "Hey, look, we're here trying to support the school system here, trying to be a little bit better working team partners where nobody else in the council back in the days never has."
Okay.
So hold on, I'm not done here. I'll let you talk. And so what we try to do is sit there and say, "Hey, look, we have some property here that may be valuable to you," and in return, they came back and said, "Hey, we're really tired of dealing with what we have here, and maybe this might work." And so we sit there and say, "Well, hey, we had plans to sit there and build a new town hall right over here. Maybe you're right. Maybe you can be like Councilman Mobley and just be satisfied with what we've got." But, just think of what has happened since this council has been a part of it, this town. You've seen a lot of opportunity. You've seen a lot of growth. You've seen a lot of new things coming along. You've seen almost $9 million worth of brand new roads and sidewalks.
I see a lot of money going in the same pockets and a lot of debt being incurred in the future for these visions for that.
Whose pockets?
We have one contract, JTL. I'm just going to say it plain and simple. JTL is the only group or entity that we use for everything we do. Everything. Now, they might do a fantastic job. Everything is JTL. It's not even there's not even a bid. There's not even a lot of
Jason, we have had other engineers that have came in and everything. JTL has a great 30-year history of what our town is all about, and plus more. They're an expanding company that has other things to offer. I mean, okay, just like you're trying to train a business. But again, at the end of the day,
just if you don't mind,
sure.
Point of order, I would love to just try to stay on topic of what's going on and not everything else on JTL or anyone else between the school board, the agenda item at hand. I'd really, if we could stay right there on point on that. You voiced your concerns. If there's anything else you have for the record, I can tell you that I have spoke to each and every council member, and there isn't a foregone conclusion of what anybody wants to do. It was an ordinance that was presented to us, or the resolution rather, from the school board of something to consider. And that's the reason why before making any decision, there was a study performed, and then that they could have the information, and everybody's going to have their own individual interpretation and what they think is the right course of action. That's what they've been elected to do, and you can come up here and comment, that's your right as well, but that's, it's something that's before this board, and then they can vote one way or the other.
I just feel like we're in a situation where we're not in control because we're at the mercy of their timetable that you're pushing down our throats and what way it appears. If anything has to be rushed, if it has to be done by 90 days, maybe drag our feet a little bit. What's that hurt? Because there's a lot at hand here. That building, I went to elementary school there. Believe it or not, you all won't see it in your little handbook you got over there, but that's my figure painted on the wall in the gymnasium there. I won't tell you which one because I don't look nearly like it now, but my picture has been painted on that wall.
Well, just so you know, I went to school there too.
I know, so you're invested in it.
I want to preserve that. That's part of this conversation.
Well, I apologize if I come off a little emotionally strong or charged in this, but I feel like this was a rush situation now because I recall when it came about, but the drawings were already dated from April and then May. So it seems like to me, this is the only other time that this conversation has been brought up because we only got 3 people that show up.
It's been talked about for over a year now.
Over a year. I didn't hear about it till March, whenever to think
We
about.
didn't, because it was asked to find out whether or not the building was structurally sound.
How much money did we spend on that survey?
We have to find out if it's structurally sound. We have to find out what it's going to take to replace it, repair it. We have to find out what the electrical needs are. We have to find out what the water and sewage needs are. We're not going into this blind. We're doing research, we're doing the due diligence, and we have to pay to get that done. And that's what we've done. And we're trying to come to a decision now after JPL has given us the facts. And they do work for every community around here, not just us.
I'm well aware of that.
Okay.
You guys are a very intelligent group of men. I just feel like that there's a better way for Team Sellersburg to do better than what is proposed currently. And I'll take that as a challenge, take that as me down talking to you guys. I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that. You guys are very intelligent. You guys have been doing this for a long time now. It doesn't seem like it's right at this time and right now. So that's my opinion on the matter. I appreciate you guys for listening to me on that, and I'll be back here shortly.
I want to go see what pictures.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Hold on. Come on.
I'm waiting for Charlie to finish.
I don't have an electronic version. Mike, can you give me an electronic version and I'll put it into docs or whatever.
Scott has something he'd like to say.
I'll wait for Charlie to finish. Okay. For the record, I don't have, in my opinion, a look of disgust on my face. This is the same RBF face that I always have, and I think you all can attest to that I very rarely smile. As a matter of fact, there's no foregone conclusion. I haven't said a word. You just assumed. I support Randy's motion to make sure that we get the right wording in his contract. The other option is we could just tell the school no, and they could sell the building, and the developer will come in with no regulation from the town or no oversight and just put apartments up there, and everybody will go haywire. I can't stop any development group to come in and just go, you know what? We're going to buy this at a steal from the school, and we're going to turn apartments into it. We're going to profit it, which is going to add more traffic. Nobody wants them. We're trying to save a little bit of history. This has been talked about for months in executive sessions, in conversations one-on-one with the town attorney, with JTL. And I'm still here, not at a final decision, other than we have to get the wording correct in the contract if we even consider a trade. A trade would be the best deal, not knowing what we're going to do with the building. The town may keep it. I'm not in favor of being in the landlord business. I don't want to run 400 kids whose parents depend upon that school on short notice out of the building. I don't think that would be fair to them or those kids. So we would have to honor that. Is it best to go to redevelopment where the town has some direction on the building to say, hey, this is what the town would like to see? I can't help it that there's 10,000 residents in this town and less than 0.002% decide to chime in occasionally, I'm thankful that you guys come. I listen to what you have to say. I'm not adversarial to you. So I would appreciate it before we make comments about foregone conclusions and the look on my face that you actually know what I'm thinking about before you accuse me of something. That being said I've done my due diligence. I've done my research. And for the record, I'll second Randy's motion to direct the town attorney to make sure that we have the proper wording before we sign any contract. At least that's my opinion. If I get outvoted, then it is what it is. But I appreciate the comment that you think I'm intelligent. Most don't, including those at my house. But again, we're trying to do what's best for the town. And I look at some of the things that you say or I listen to, and I say, why would we want to take on another project? Why shouldn't we? Would be my question. Should we just be stagnant and wait for one thing to finish? I don't know. Should we just wait another 20 years for the state to get done with 31 before we move this town along? Should we just wait for one thing? I mean, are we not capable of multitasking and doing multiple things at once? I'm asking you, or do you want to leave that into the hands of the next council? Wait a minute, I'm not finished. I gave you your time, sir. Should we just leave that in the hands of the next council and maybe they just table it for 2 or 3 years? And what does everybody in this town say? Nothing ever gets done. We have nothing. That's why I ran. That's why I ran for this spot, to do things that people want. What people want is to save that building and not have more apartments. We put a moratorium on apartments, if I'm not correct.
Correct.
We talk to our constituents. That's what I'm elected to do. It's not what Scott McVoy wants, because I don't live downtown. But I've heard enough from a lot of people that say, hey, downtown needs this and it needs that. And I think that's what Mr. Amos and Mr. Langford are trying to do, not rush anything along. We're trying to find the best solution. And everyone has my phone number. Everybody knows it's out there. I'm easy to get a hold of. They know where to find me. No one ever calls.
As well as I am, as well as Brad Amos, Matt Zarnecki, and Rand Moby.
So I appreciate your input, and I listen to what you say, and I'm not being adversarial, but I would just ask respectfully not to be accusatory and think about what you already know, what I've decided.
And I'll say on my behalf, I'm kind of right there with Scott and Randy. It's the wordage needs to be changed. I'm all for keeping that part of history in this town, and I'm not even from this area.
The school will, if we do nothing, the school will sell that building to whoever gets the best deal. And I promise you, whoever buys that will turn it into whatever they want, and they will be making money. That's a fact.
Just for the record, Scott, I just wanted to note for Jason and people that are here and any of those watching out there, I believe that Brad and Terry had an excellent idea when this came forward, to do the swap. I think it's a good idea. I still think it's a good idea. Mm-hmm. The problem where we had was there was a dollar amount attached to this, make it into a town hall and a community center, that I wasn't comfortable with until I figured out and found some literature from some people that, how are we going to pay for this without a tax increase? That's something that very much concerned me, because I'm an old retired guy now, so I'm on fixed income. So, I say that loosely, but at any rate, everybody doesn't have gobs of money. Nobody wants to see a tax increase. And if we had gobs and buckets of money here, going down there and making this place into a town hall and making it accessible for everybody and having a community center, it's a good idea, but realistically, we have to figure out how to pay for it. But concerning the trade, as I said before, we need to be diligent going forward. And if we're going to be smart with our money, I don't think people are standing in line to buy the school. Nothing can happen for 2 years because they have a 2-year contract with Growing Minds. So my suggestion is that we take this, we get it in our hands at that point in 2 years, and then we can move forward once the students are gone. But they're on the hook for the repairs and for whatever's going on, because that building is taking lots of money to keep it up. to keep it going. So why do we want to assume that as taxpayers right now? I don't think this deal is going to go away in 2 years. That's the reason I'm wanting the literature to state that, hey, we'll take it when Growing Minds vacates the building. But, you know, as far as the idea that Brad came forward with and Terry came forward, they were the first two, you know, I was all on board, but then I seen the price tag that was hooked to it. And I'm like, well, it's still a good idea, but where do we get this? So that's, it's not like a sewer plant. We have to have that. This is optional. So that's really all I have to say about it. It's been a contentious point. We've had some discussion about it, but I don't think we're entering into anything irrationally without responsible parties being involved. So that's all I have there, Brad.
Okay. All right. All right.
So that
So-
I'm clear, the proper wording, language, is it more around you all are interested in moving forward with the swap after Growing Minds lease terminates?
That's my
That's
take. I'm
correct.
100% interested on board with it once those that we're not leasing to a school or any other
Okay.
entity that's renting from us. When we go in there, that building is ours, it's empty, then we can move forward with, just like if we had thought about building it into a town hall, we're going to go there and there's a Growing Minds in it. How would we do construction while the kids are there? You can't, you know, that's even a bigger liability. But that's to say yes. That's
Okay.
what the verbiage needs to reflect
is there
that.
anything else that you would like for me to work through? Because I just want to make sure that I
I'm sh-
accurately.
I'm sure I don't know right now, but after I sleep, I'll probably think of something. So maybe we can have a conversation
That'd be-
about
I just want to make
that.
sure I
And
get
then,
it all and we can get it back to their attorney.
okay,
Because our due diligence is running out. I want to be fair to them, and it may not be anything they're willing to engage, or maybe they are. But
Yeah.
I just want to make sure what we're concerned about, we get it over to them.
and as Scott had stated earlier, it'd be nice for us to control that building because we can control moving forward that, you know, if we own it and say, hey, we're going to give it to a developer, we don't want apartments here. Maybe it's going to be a home. Maybe it's going to be something else, you know, for a retirement home, what have you. But we have some control over what goes forward with it. If the school has it, they have full control of it. But I just don't want to see us pay the maintenance there and be on a hook for the pool for the next 2 years. So Charlie is looking at some alternatives. I'm the Parks and Liaison Board. We talked about a $500,000 investment, but we also found another thing where he had spoke the other day, and I haven't got back with him, but maybe there's a $30,000 fix that we can keep it going for another 5 years, 10 years. But, you know, the problem with the pool is a huge leak, and it's that pool was built in such a way that you can't access those parts without doing a whole lot of damage. And when you go in there, you might make it worse than it is now. So the pools that are built today are accessible. You can get to the things that break. That wasn't built that way then, but you know, it's a good meeting. I'm glad that we've had a good discussion about it. But no, I don't feel like adversarial with any of my people on the council here. We support each other. I think moving forward that we've tried to move the town forward. Like say, can you find that got you moment for a councilman? You can. I mean, we don't do everything right, but we try. So moving forward, I just think that I'm proud to serve with these guys and proud to be on here with them. Thank you, Brad.
All right. So with that, had a motion from Randy, had a second from Scott on Jake getting with the school corporation's attorney to maybe do some restructuring to the agreement of the transfer of the two real properties. So I guess with that said, I asked for a motion. I asked for a vote of approval. So I'll either say, all in favor, say aye, or we can go individually. It doesn't make any difference to me.
Roll call is fine. Roll call.
Yeah.
Aye.
I'm good. I'm aye.
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 Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. We have a community award survey, Charlie.
You all have requested to move forward with a Town of Sellersburg Resident Award. We've had to put it down, we solicited it out, we received some responses for names on options. It was submitted back out to submit a brief description of why you think that you ought to ask me to put it back out for a vote to the community. So we did a survey, 200 responses, and it was very close. In third place was the Sellersburg Steel Rail Award with 43 votes. Second place was Silverleaf Award with 78 votes. And first place, and I guess the recommendation for you all to name the resident award, is the Sellersburg Foundation Award, submitted by Dean Budorf. He says, this name came from Historic Center of Industry in Sellersburg. Cement for years has been quarried, manufactured here. Many of the families living here can trace relatives back to work in the quarries or mills. No building or town, for that matter, can be built without strong foundation, which is a great part of the state and county, our country, which is owed to concrete and the limestone right here in Sellersburg. This award pays tribute to those who laid the foundation for us to continue to live and build our lives here in this wonderful town. So with that, I would ask for your approval to move forward with that. I will look forward to going through to start the application process for your review for how
It's
people
going to read.
how it can read, potentially what the award might look like, and then as well as what the application process might look like for people who would like to recommend a town resident who's had local, state, or national contributions to improve the community or beyond.
I'll make that motion to approve the Sellersburg Foundation Award.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay.
Need a vote, obviously, but thank you.
All right. So a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I want to say that I was following people on Facebook when you posted this, and they were just, I voted. And, you know, they were letting us know that they were involved in it. And I don't, how many did you say voted?
200.
So out of the 200 people, out of 9,900 or whatever, I guess that's a good thing. So the people that did vote were excited about it. So
Okay. All right. I mean, I like I said, I appreciate these folks taking the time, but you know, again, Mr. Hartsall, just to show you another example of something we put out 6 months ago, and this is all the response you get from people. You know, so I mean, it's just, you know, it's a shame that people don't get involved, but you know, but I appreciate it. So all right. Well, so all in favor for Sellersburg Foundation Award, and then we'll move forward with the literature way, the wording, and way how we'd like for this to move forward. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Same sign, nay. Motion approved.
thank you, Mr. Powell.
Okay. All right. New business, Jeffersonville Utica Pike Sidewalk Project, partial 15. I think, Jake, is this the project you're
Yes,
talking
sir.
about?
Mr. Smith, you able to pull that up by chance? Perfect. If you pointed out where it's at. Gotcha. So y'all able to see the location? This is going to be a sidewalk improvement. There's a grant, I believe, that the city of Jeffersonville got. This is down in their area. As part of the process for any type of eminent domain, you get an offer letter. And then we decide whether or not we take the amount. There's appraisals on it. It's a very, very small parcel, and the offer is $2,125 for that small strip out front for a sidewalk. So it's up to you whether or not you want to agree to that number or not. If we reject the number, they can still take it by going to court through the eminent domain process. Legal fees will exceed $22,125. So I would recommend you
What was the figure?
agreeing $2,125.
Okay. So looks like I know we've had a couple other different
A total of 284 square feet.
conversations and dealings with the city of Jeff, and they've always been very fair. So with that, I'll ask for a motion for this approval in the amount of 2125, so we can either have some discussion or we're going to move on. I got a motion by Terry. Do I have a
I'll
second? Second by Matt. Do we have some discussion? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign, nay.
I'll abstain.
Okay, Councilman McBoy will abstain.
And I would also ask just for a motion to allow Charlie Smith and Brad Amos to execute any documents that they may need to execute in order to facilitate what we just voted on.
Okay, all right, so upon the attorney's request, ask for a motion for myself and Charlie to sign any type of documents on this approval.
So moved.
Got a motion by Matt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Randy. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign, nay. Motion approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, our second new business, Brown Frost Todd invoice, appointment consulting, an amount of $523.50. Jake handed us all a letter here with some information.
Happy to field any questions. Overall, I have a fairly good background, legal as a general counsel, general knowledge. There's certain fields, employment law. I know we're looking into a question of law that dates back to the early 1900s to whether or not we can do something. You voted at your last meeting that I could go ahead and move forward and retain Frost for a legal opinion. This is something that is standard and is done in municipalities all across the state of Indiana. We rely on experts in their, in a certain field. And it also will allow the clerk treasurer's office to more easily pay invoices that come in. The one before you, Mr. Smith contacted me on an employment law question. On its face, had an answer, but I thought, hey, let's go ahead and, retain Frost and ask them. So that's all this is allowing us, is that when these questions present themselves, that we can go get the right answers from the right people.
Okay, like I said, we've already do a lot of things, redevelopment, different things here. Frost Brown Todd. So I know
And I
Bo
think
Zeller
this may
is
have
ours.
been, Mr. Amos, I can only think of 2 occasions, maybe 3 occasions where we've utilized it from my.
No, like I said, it's a great resource and everything, I think, for us. So, and like I said, I know we appreciated Bo Zeller showing up at our last meeting in a workshop. So we appreciated that as well. So, but I asked for that approval of the employment of consulting of $523.50.
So moved.
A motion by Matt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign, nay. Motion approved. Our third new business, utility adjustment account 107659 in the amount of $1,295.36. Charlie.
Yes, this exceeds my approval. Basically, this customer had a water leak on them. Took them a while to fix it. Basically, they discovered a leak past their meter in their front yard. Couldn't get it fixed immediately. Had to call in a specialist. Couldn't necessarily pay for it right away, so it took a while to get it fixed. They got it fixed. I've got documentation of all that. This just exceeds my approval. So this is a sewer adjustment for that use of that water, in the amount that exceeds my approval level of $1295.36. I ask council approval to issue this adjustment.
Just to be clear, Charlie, you said after the meter, so the meter is after the meter that was billed to that customer. It was on them going to their home.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So anybody else have any other questions to ask? Okay. With that, I ask for the approval of this adjustment.
So moved.
Got a motion by Matt. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Randy. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Same sign, nay. Motion approved. Our fourth new business is water line relocation. Description number, 1700111.
So this is basically we've talked before, and I think I talked to you last when you all approved the extraordinary cost agreement comes out as part of the 31 project. I told you I'd be bringing a water version of that. So our cost estimate for water relocation is 247, 255. If you look at the second page of the agreement amounts for $0. We do not qualify for extraordinary cost reimbursement from NDOT for the water portion of the project. However, these extraordinary cost agreements, when there is a relocation, if there is another relocation call that comes from NDOT within the period of an existing agreement, they all start rolling into the number. While they're different agreements, that number still totals out so that you're not paying over and over and over and over again for cost relocations. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You cap out basically at your 10%. So while we do not exceed the 10% revenue, NDOT wants to get on record that we are basically in an extraordinary cost agreement, even though there's no reimbursement coming from them for this, so that in the event we have other relocation projects that happen during the duration of this project, that we would be eligible for extraordinary cost reimbursements at a later date. To give you an example, we have the one for wastewater on 31. The cost, I have a cost agreement coming for the Highway 60 relocation where we will now receive full reimbursement for that because we are exceeding our 10% of revenues. So.
Well, I'll make that motion and move forward just because I want to continue this project to move forward. So.
Okay, I've got a motion by Matt. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign, nay. Motion approved. Thank you. General comments from the public. Okay. Staff report, Charlie.
I will keep this quick.
Sorry. Okay, sure.
Got a couple things. It's getting late. I'm not going to drag it on for you guys. At the beginning of every council meeting, you all do the same thing. You go over the same motions. Did anybody take a gander at the actual appropriation claims and the payroll dockets for today?
One of them wasn't here.
One of them wasn't posted.
So you guys looked at all the allowance claims.
I'm going to tell you that I look it over, but as far as I'm not going to get down and count how many ink pens and toilet paper and bottled waters we use.
Fair enough. Councilman McBoyd, did you look at that by chance?
Yeah, I do.
So you looked at tonight's.
I go over them, yes.
Okay.
I have trusted department.
All right, thank you.
No, wait a minute. You don't get to come up here and grill people.
I
That's
do
not-
believe
that's
that is
not
the
what
case
you
because what I'm
designed.
about to bring up to me goes to show that you guys clearly are not looking at what you're approving. You blindly approve something.
I'll direct this to Jake.
So anytime you allow for public comment, that's all that it is. You never have to engage anyone.
Okay.
Give them time to listen. You never have to answer a question.
Nope.
Their 15 minutes can run out and then they can sit down. It's entirely up to you as to whether or not you want to engage them, depending upon the demeanor and manner in which they address you.
Fair enough.
So I'm just going to be quick about it. So on tonight's claim, under the Parks and Recreation, Randy, we had a JP Morgan Chase Bank from 8/6 for office supplies for printer ink in the amount of $95.77. Then directly underneath of it, we have the same thing, JP Morgan Chase Bank with the office supplies. And the description is, and I quote, "When I work, $100." So I want to know who is When I Work and why do they get $100? When I Work.
So the
So,
name of the app.
so that's what I'm getting at. So as something as simple as that.
They don't approve the parks claim, they go for a different board.
Well, it's submitted on the accounts payable for the claims.
Their voucher goes before the parks board, that's tomorrow night.
So when they approve the claim tonight that you all have,
Parks board's their own entity,
Mhm.
so their vouchers underneath of it, so their parks meeting's tomorrow night, so I'll put their folder in here for tomorrow night and they approve their own claims. They have their own tax rate, they're their own entity, the parks board's a separate entity.
I've never seen that for When I Work as the line item description before now. So that's the reason why I asked about it because
Clock in and clock out, that's why I
Do you see where I come from though? And that's something because.
That's the actual vendor, that's the name of the vendor.
Hey, and then the other one there, Mr. Elder, I wasn't here for the couple ones back. Seems like we paid you $26,000 for services rendered for the initiation and a settlement. I don't know what that's about. If you care to,
Sure.
I don't know.
Normally, I have a base contract,
right?
and
With it.
then right now, I think we have 3, maybe 4 lawsuits.
Mhm.
So those lawsuits are billed in addition to base
Mhm.
because they can be extensive. I've done a great job over the last, 12, 13 years keeping us out of lawsuits, going in. The board has listened to my advice. Some of these lawsuits were initiated by others. We have to defend them.
Right.
And that's really what that's about.
All right.
And
I just seen the amount. That
Yeah,
was just
no,
a high
no.
thing. So yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
not doubting
No,
that at
that's
all.
what that is.
And good job, Chief, on getting those body cameras and all the other stuff on there, taking care of the town there. It's doing a good job. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Good evening. I'm short. I'm Mary Molenkamp, and I am the person that's now part of Exit 7 Enterprises. Yeah. And I'm sorry, I've been delinquent, not coming to these meetings on a pretty regular basis. I'm going to be doing that. I've been doing some other work that precludes me from being here in the past couple months. But I want to give my dedication to you guys. I want to come and really get involved with your all's organization. I do have the intention of doing some good things with Exit 7 Enterprises. I want to engage you all, engage everybody into doing something really great for the community here. That's my goal. So it's been a little delayed because I want to make sure I have the authority by the trust of my father's trust, that I'm not going to be impeded by other family members from doing or any liability, which is when you were saying liability, I said, I understand what liability is all about. So I appreciate that and your patience. But once that is cleared up, I'd like to engage on doing some really good productive things with Exit 7 Enterprises and doing things for the community that will be beneficial down the road and for many years to come, beyond me, probably beyond all of us. So I just wanted to let you know that I do have that intention, and I will be coming to these meetings. And once I get that clearance, I'll start to take those next steps to get the land prepared for that. I have asked JNC, who's doing the mowing right now, to put some no dumping, no trespassing signs out, just because I think we've had a little bit of people doing some deer hunting and all kinds of things that I think we might want to discourage. So I asked them to put those kind of signs up in doing that. But of course, other things will happen, and those will probably be ripped out in a minute. But I would like to do some productive things that'll be clearing land and doing things going forward. So, but I wanted to let you all know that I'm looking forward to working with you all down the road.
Mary, I'd like to ask that you stay in contact with Nick Lawrence and Charlie Smith and myself
Right.
and the
Mary and I
redevelopment
talk
crew.
frequently.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah, I'll be working a little more frequently if I get all this liability off of my plate here. But I'm hoping in the fall or down the road that I'll be getting here more shortly than long term. So that's why I wanted to come and engage and be part of this. And I want to be a regular, because I know that we have 92 acres to work with. So I know that's a big chunk of land to really consider. And so I want to be thoughtful, introspective, and very careful how we proceed with that. So, but I appreciate your all's patience.
Do you
And
live in Louisville?
I do. I live in
there's
St. Matthews.
houses available for sale in Sellers.
You know what? I really would not be opposed. I would not be opposed. Would not be opposed in being a member of your great community. So, but I'm flipping a house in Bardstown, so I get that one out of my way. But I do appreciate land development, and one of the reasons why I did actually buy my brother out to purchase this land in the trust. So I have a commitment. I've always had a commitment to it, and so I'm hoping I can do something with you going forward. So. But thank you all very much.
No, well, we really appreciate you coming to our meeting. And it's my pleasure to finally get to see you face to face. For years and years, I rode my motorbike all the way through there to go to 76 truck stop back in the day. So like I said, I know your father was a very kind and good man, and you know, I know a lot of people for many years always wondered when this property was ever going to come. I know he always had a nice price tag, probably to keep some of the business around. I remember as a kid, like I said, I hung out with the Davis family for many years, and like I said, they knew it was a nice piece of property, and where the truck stop was, but again, I appreciate your desire and your determination to keep Exit 7 in a good growing manner, and we do appreciate that. So, all right, Chief. Okay, Mike Harris, JTL.
I remember her dad used to show up at 90 degrees outside. He'd have on a black wool suit.
All right, I will be quick here. Sunflower Valley, that should say met with Greg Pfeiffer. So Greg has started working on acquiring easements. Now I'm all thrown off. I don't remember where I was. I know I was hurrying. The IDEM construction permit, so that has been sent in. They have determined it complete, and they have to have a 30-day public notice period. So once that's over, that'll be finalized. Stormwater plan is done and submitted. So all we're waiting for now is acquisition of the easements, and anticipate that getting to construction this fall. Talked with the IFA folks; they're on board with the schedule, so that's all moving forward. Lead service line, nothing much has happened on that yet, but that will be coming up. 31 still, and this applies to water and sewer. We're basically done at this point with our work. We're waiting on NDOT to, if you remember, I told you there's a schedule and there's a accelerated schedule. They're still working with the designer, the firm that's doing the design work on 31 to figure out what the schedule will be. They'll let us know, and then we will be ready to bid. Either way, it will be around the beginning of 25 when that happens. Fields of St. Joe lift station, excuse me. So emergency repair, we put a quick quote package together and sent that out. We sent it to Dan Christiani, Mac. Both of those firms did not submit a quote. Temple and Temple and Dirtworks. The two prices, Temple and Temple, and this includes bypass pumping. So we put it out with that as an option in case the town wanted to do that themselves. But the numbers came back at such a good rate, and we've talked to Laura Kearney about it, and she wants to go ahead and include it in there. Dirtworks was $135,000. Temple and Temple was $94,447. I believe Charlie Mark sent all of that to you. They're ready to go. They can order materials immediately. So presenting that to you guys for your consideration of awarding to Temple and Temple, lowest bidder $94,447.
Okay. So with that said, then I ask for a motion for approval of the recommendation by JTL to award Temple and Temple the wastewater bypass pumps and discharge process, an amount of $94,447,000.
So moved.
Got a motion by Terry. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Matt. Any discussion?
Charlie, what would that be paid out of? Wastewater, I guess? Okay.
Okay. This will be taken out of wastewater. Thank you.
Board and Sellersburg.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Same sign, nay. Motion approved. Thank you.
Yep, sorry. Board in Sellersburg's moving forward, continuing to work on what we're calling segment 4, phase 1. So from town center to Ivy Tech, and then working with everybody on funding for the rest of it. Ivy Tech 2, which is more critical right now. Basically done with the design work. Had a review meeting with town. Have had a few little changes to make. Permits. The environmental permits have been sent in. The IDEM permit is being finalized to go in. We'll be ready to bid that here soon. I know, Brad, you were going to talk to some of the property owners. So as soon as we hear back on that, we'll be able to roll on getting those to Jake to process. Let's see, we talked about 31 State Road 60 force main. So that was also sent out for quotes. We received 4 quotes on that. TRC was the lowest at 82,000. Temple and Temple 93,160. Dan Christiani 110,126. And Dave O'Mara came in at 147,098. So TRC again was low, 82,000. This is another NDOT project. This cost, Charlie, this goes towards their extraordinary cost agreement.
So I'm still waiting. So NDOT and I are still working on that, getting that extraordinary cost agreement together for the Highway 60. So I do not want to proceed with that, because when we get there and I've notified the designer for the Highway 60 project that we're not moving forward until we get this extraordinary cost agreement with NDOT, because NDOT, once we enter into that, we get them the paperwork, they will give us a notice to proceed for the extraordinary cost agreement. Again, so then that project that he's talking about, the Highway 60, will get reimbursed fully to the town, because we already have the existing for the 31 project. So while we have bids and everything, this extraordinary cost thing came up, not awarded. And I've sent NDOT, we've been trading email back and forth about getting that extraordinary cost agreement together so we get that in front of you guys for approval.
So take it under consideration. Don't make an action on it tonight.
Okay.
Treatment plant, they should have, if they haven't already, the final payment final pay request should have come through. They're out there working on the drainage issue. They've talked with Lori out there on site. They did some small sidewalk repairs that were all under the warranty stuff. So we'll pretty shortly here, we'll just take this off the list. CCMG paving continues. They're working on concrete replacement, and that is it unless there are any questions.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Jake? Okay. All right. Terry?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Mike? I'm sorry. Scott?
I have nothing.
Matt?
Good.
Randy?
Yes, I have one thing that I'd like to discuss that I've been kind of struggling with here for a while, and I think Mr. Coomer's still here. Mr. Coomer has reached out to me on several occasions, and he continues to have the same problem with some nuisance pests in his area as far as homes. I'd like to let him know publicly and officially that I'm doing everything that I possibly can, Dan. And I just want you to know that. And that I'm going to continue to talk to town manager and Bart and the code enforcement and do everything that we can. I think several years and months ago, it was trash, which still continues to be somewhat of a problem, but now it seems to be public nuisance as far as junk left around the property and mice and animals and mosquitoes. So appreciate you bringing it up, and I'm going to do all I can for you, Dan, and past that, that's all I have to say.
Okay. All right. I'll say mine for the next meeting. So, Michelle, do you have anything tonight?
I just wanted to apologize again for getting to the payroll.
Hey, it happens. Like I said, you all do an excellent job and again, like I said, everything's good. Appreciate it. All right. With that, I ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
We got a motion by Matt. Do I have a second? Second by Scott. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Same sign, nay. 7:38.
Hey, Charlie Pierce. Charlie Pierce. Before you leave, I want to give this back.